Friends, in today's video, I will tell you how to make the wiring connections of the refrigerator compressor, and how to test the compressor whether they are good or bad. Both the compressor I have right now have the same connections. However, some compressor has a different type of connection. I will tell you that connection theoretically. I am going to explain to you the connection between these compressors. See, two terminals are on the downside. The one is on the top. The same is with the second compressor. But the other type of terminal has the upper terminal on the downside, and the terminals downside are installed on the upper side of the compressor. Now I will tell you an easy way, through which you, by seeing with your eyes, will realize which connection is run start and common. The company uses two types of patterns. The one pattern is of this type. The other pattern is of this type. These two patterns are available, and all the companies are using these patterns in the refrigerator compressor. Friends, once you learn these connections, it will be easier for you to make connections on any compressor. But, if its winding is not okay, how will you check the compressor? I will tell you that in the later part of the video. The one terminal pin, whether in this pattern or the second pattern. This pin will be called the common or the line terminal. In short, I am writing C here. The phase wire or the line wire is always installed here. When you install the line on the wrong terminal, the compressor will get faulty quickly. Now the next pins are the start and run terminals, and how will you realize the run and the start terminals through your eyes? Companies always use the left side of the compressor as the start winding. So the right side will be the running point. The neutral wire is always installed on the run terminal. The start point is kept empty. No electricity is installed here. Only when the relay is installed with this terminal, it start the compressor and then stop the electric flow here on the start terminal. Let me tell you how we will install electricity on the other pattern. As we should know which is start and run terminals. The run point of this compressor terminal pattern will be on the left. The start point will be on the right. You will have no problem making the connections now if you understand this. Now I will tell you how to test the refrigerator compressor with the help of a multimeter. We will have two benefits of it. 1. If the winding of your compressor has got weak or bad, you will come to know it. You will also trace the run common and start terminals through the multimeter. When we check the winding of the compressor, we get three combinations from the start run and common. Means CS, CR, and SR. I will test these combinations on the terminal and check how much value we get. Now, when I check the resistance value between the C and S, I am getting 15.3 ohms. So I am writing the exact value the multimeter is showing us. Now I will check the value on the next point as well. It is between common and run terminals. Let the one probe on the common and the other probe on the run terminal. It is showing us 16.8 ohms. It has a little difference here. Let me explain the difference in further part of the video. Through this, you will understand how the winding gets bad. Now I will check the start and run winding. So the value we are getting on both these terminals is 32 ohms. So let me explain why the values are shown this way. When I check the common and start, I got the value only between this winding which is 15.3 ohms. When I check the value on C and R, the multimeter only shows the value of this winding, which is 16.9 ohms. When I check the value of S and R, this value is the resistance of complete winding as it is joined together. That's the reason it has doubled the value of the resistance. How will we know through these values which is common run and start? That is also an easy way to do. Let me explain this as well. But the principle is the same. It could not be changed. When we check any two compressor terminals, the terminal on which we get the most value is the start and run. So, the terminal opposite to these terminals will be the common terminal of the compressor. This will be the C now. Always remember that the medium resistance value will always be of the start winding. But the medium value is between the common and running. So now I will clear you that what is the reason behind it. And I already told you that how can you know it through your eyes? And you can judge where the fault is? The lowest value is always of the run terminal. Now, what is the problem here? Why is the value more with the run? The reason is that compressor has been working for quite a while. So the start winding of this compressor has got weak. That's why the running winding value shows more than the compressor's start winding, when the value is shown this way. And the compressor does not starts or stops after starting. Then you can use a capacitor with it. This increases the compressor starting power as well as the running power. The capacitor can be installed separately and together as well. It depends on what you prefer according to the situation. Now I have another compressor whose running winding has got weak. Now let's see how its run winding is weak, as I had installed a running capacitor on it. But it was not working fine and was tripping again and again. Now I have installed both the multimeter probes on common and start. It is showing 24.7 ohms here. So let's write it here to remember the value. Now next, let's check between the common and run. The value we are getting is 10 ohms. And when we see its total value, the value is 35 ohms, which is not too important. So now the common and start are 24.7 ohms. The running and common have 10 ohms. Therefore, the value difference between the run and start should be 1 to 2 or a maximum of 3 ohms. And when start and run winding has such a difference between them, so then it means the running winding has got weak. And the compressor I showed you before has a little difference in the start winding compared to this one. But it works fine when we use that compressor with the run capacitor. But if the compressor value has a difference of more than half, then it means that this type of compressor is finished. If you use a capacitor on such a compressor, it will start to heat up. And the best option is to replace this kind of compressor. The next is the test of the compressor winding leakage. And if the winding has leakage, then it will not work at all. The body will show a short circuit. When you touch the refrigerator, it might give you a shock. Then it is essential to check the compressor leakage. Install the probe wire on any terminal of the compressor. Set the multimeter on resistance mode. Touch the other probe with the body of the compressor. When the multimeter shows any resistance value, it means the compressor is short-circuited. When it has no resistance value, it means it has no leakage. Now test the other terminal. It is fine. The third is also okay. When you check the compressor terminal, and it shows no reading, then it isn't good and needs to be replaced. This is for today's video. I will see you in the next video.